Hey friend, it's Ker-leen. Thank you for tuning back into my channel. I'm so happy that you're here because today I'm going to be sharing with you the fragrances in my perfume collection that I'll be reaching for this spring. These fragrances make me feel extra feminine, super pretty. They're just soft and beautiful, and I'm gonna get into what I love about each one. I have a total of 10 fragrances and 2 body mists. So if you don't already have a snack, go ahead and grab one because I think we might be here for a little bit. Hey friend, welcome back. We're gonna jump right in. But before we do, I wanna thank those of you who are new here. On this channel, I make videos on luxury, I share my fragrance journey, I do review videos, and I also sprinkle in a little bit of lifestyle in my monthly vlogs. So if any of those things sound good to you, then I think you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I would love to have you here. And also be sure to turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when my videos drop. All right, let's get into it. The first scent that I have here is a body mist. This is Tan Lines by Sol de Janeiro. I picked up Tan Lines maybe a couple of years ago. No, it might be 3 years ago now. And they have since repackaged this scent and they put it in a yellow bottle. They've called it Rio Radiance, I believe. But something about this packaging I'm emotionally tied to, and also I feel like there's a slight difference in the fragrance. It might just be because I've had this for so long, the mist has matured and it smells slightly different from the new one because I have that one as well. But y'all, this is just beautiful. This smells like if you've ever smelled Tom Ford's Soleil Blanc, if you've ever smelled Beach Walk by Maison Margiela's replica line of fragrances, this one is along those same lines. That's what it smells like. It's a beautiful creamy white floral with solar aspects, really beachy vibes. It's a very sunscreen-like fragrance. And to me, the tuberose that's in here really helps with the performance because tuberose is a very potent white floral. And I feel like this performs like an eau de parfum. If you spray on enough, this will be on for several hours. And that's what I absolutely loved about this one. This has a very creamy coconut milk. It has a sand accord. Not sure what that is, but I guess it adds to that beachy aspect. And then it has tuberose and ylang ylang. It has vanilla at the base. This is just a beautiful, creamy, warm, white floral that has a suntan vibe, which makes it perfect for the summertime. So this is one that when I wear this makes me feel extremely feminine, and I think it has something to do with the tuberose. If you didn't know, my name is Ker-leen and I am obsessed with tuberose. The tuberose has to be done right though. It cannot be done in a dated and mature way, and I feel like this fragrance nails the tuberose perfectly, makes it super modern. I just love the lush, rich, thick, very creamy and slightly animalic aspects of tuberose. I feel like tuberose is a very statement white floral. When you have it on, it makes a statement. And if it's done right, it can be so enjoyable. So yes, this is Tan Lines by Sol de Janeiro. This makes me feel super feminine, super sexy, and I love this one. This next body mist is another Sol de Janeiro body mist. This is the most recent one that I've picked up, and this one is Cheirosa 59. Cheirosa 59 is a really soft, powdery, sheer, creamy, slightly woody scent. It has this really sheer, very light aspect and quality to it, but it also has this creaminess to it because it has a beautiful sandalwood. This has a beautiful violet note, and it also has a beautiful vanilla orchid, and I feel like the vanilla orchid and the violet really pair well together. They make this fragrance extremely soft and extremely feminine, and this to me is a powdery, slightly musky, slightly woody, warm, and sheer creamy vanillic scent. It's just so good. I love this one. Yeah, it's both warm and sheer at the same time. So it's like this cloak of warm, sweet, sugary, powdery goodness. Yeah, so although the cloak has enveloped you, has covered you with that warm, sugary, powdery sweetness, It's not a cloak that stifles you. It's a very mesh sheer cloak where air can still circulate through it. And that really speaks to the sheerness of this body mist. It is such a beautifully done body mist. I also have the body butter, which I picked up first. Absolutely love the body butter, so good. And I just think that Cheirosa 59 is one of my preferred scents from Sol de Janeiro, just after Tan Line. The next fragrance I have here is Le Labo's Rose 31. This is a scent profile that is outside of the norm for me. This is not something I would have typically gone for, but I picked this up in Atlanta during a trip with my family. I had previously picked up another Le Labo fragrance, Lys 41, which I'll talk about in a bit. And I had sniffed Rose 31 before I picked Lys 41. I decided to go back and smell it again, and I went ahead and purchased it. This fragrance is the ultimate clean girl scent. When I have this on, it makes me feel so extremely put together. This is your crisp button down, your slacks, or your satin dress with your blazer over the top, hair pulled back, studs, pointed toe slingbacks, that kind of a vibe. Or maybe some classic loose fitting jeans, no distressing, just maybe a top on the inside like what I have on today and a button down over the top, or a blazer, that sort of a vibe. Very pulled together, very clean, very crisp. That's what this fragrance evokes for me. I feel like this fragrance does rose in a very interesting way. So the rose in here is a pink rose, but I feel like the pink rose has been heightened. The scent of it has been heightened and made more prominent and more bold with the other ingredients. For example, cumin is one, and what the cumin does in here is it creates this like bitterness and this pungent kind of almost tartness to the rose in the best way possible. It just creates this tartness, this slightly bitter vibe. And it's so interesting. There's also vetiver and cedar in here. I feel like the vetiver makes this fragrance very earthy. So it smells very natural, very earthy. And then the cedar wood gives it this crispness, because to me, that's what cedar wood tends to do. It adds a woody vibe, but it's like a crisp woody vibe. And on the dry down, you get a beautiful guaiac wood, you get olabinum, labdanum, so a very resinous and slightly sweet, ambery dry down. And I think that that's what makes this rose fragrance so intriguing. So it has this like slight bitterness to it, this slight tartness. It has an earthiness, and then it has a rich resinous feel at the base. So it's not your typical rose. It's not a rose that smells dated. It's a very modern rose, a very clean rose. So that's why I feel like this is like a clean girl aesthetic type of scent. Makes me feel super feminine, super pulled together, and this is one that I absolutely love. Didn't think I would, but I love it. I love it. This next one is a recent addition to my collection. I picked it up as soon as it came out, and I do not regret it. It is my scent of the day. As soon as I walked out with this fragrance, my husband complimented me on it. He said, "Ooh, you smell good." And so this got an immediate compliment today. So I do think that this fragrance is a compliment getter. And also, I was outside in the hot and humid Florida weather today, and I could still smell this. It was still projecting, and my husband said he could still smell it on me as well. We were at golf practice with our kids, and my husband said he could still smell it, and I could still smell it wafting around me. And that is Miss Dior's Parfum. Yes, y'all. So I haven't been back to talk about this yet, so we'll talk a little bit more about it today. I know that some consumers were a little concerned that this was just not giving performance-wise, and I would say that this does perform like an eau de parfum. Now that I've experienced it a little bit more, it performs like an eau de parfum, but as I mentioned in the previous video, this is a fragrance that you can easily build up to beast mode by simply overspraying. And today I didn't even overspray. I did like 5 or 6 sprays, and I was still projecting a couple of hours later. So I think this could easily be built up. I think this is extremely long lasting, and after maybe about 5-6 hours, it becomes more of a scent bubble, but you will still be able to detect it. You'll catch whiffs of it. And yes, I think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. This is my first Miss Dior, and I must say, this makes me feel so pretty and so beautiful. When I pick up the bottle, it just looks so cute and so girly. And then when I spray on the fragrance, it's so bright and juicy, slightly floral. It is so, so good. I feel like the patchouli that's in here, although it's not a prominent patchouli, you definitely can detect it, and it adds a bit of class to this fragrance. It also helps this to last all day long, and I just love this scent, y'all. I love it. So earlier in the video, I talked about tuberose and how much I love it. And this fragrance is another fragrance that does tuberose correctly, and that is Le Labo's Lys 41. Recently, I was chatting with one of my beautiful subbies about this fragrance because I did a whole video talking about this fragrance. She commented under that video, and y'all, this is a fragrance that we both agree that when you pick it up, it's hard to put it down. If you really can get into this scent, if you love tuberose, once you pick this up, you can't put it down. This is such a creamy, rich, sweet, dense tuberose fragrance. I absolutely love it. This is one that makes me feel ultra feminine, ultra classy, and ultra beautiful. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I'm going to link the video so you all can go back and watch it. But just know that this fragrance gives me all the feminine vibes. When I put this on, I feel extremely feminine. I feel extremely tapped into the softer side of me, but this fragrance has this boldness to it as well. So it's not a soft fragrance. It is a potent fragrance. Dare I say, could be beast mode type of scent. A few sprays of this and I'm good to go for hours. So I love this fragrance. It's so, so good. I feel so beautiful and womanly when I have this one on. This is Lys 41 by Le Labo. This next fragrance is such a fun fragrance. Everything from the bottle to the actual juice is just so flirty and fun. And that is Carolina Herrera's Very Good Girl. This is your juicy, slightly tart, lychee, rose, and vanilla fragrance. It is so sweet, but the sweetness here is more like a tart, fruity sweetness. It's not like a creamy sweetness, although this does have a creamy aspect to it on the dry down. This is more of a fruity, juicy, slightly tart, sweet, and slightly floral fragrance. This does have a beautiful rose, and I think the rose is done so nicely here. It's not overpowering. It's not headache inducing for me. I love, love, love the way the rose is done in here. This one just makes me feel extremely girly when I have it on. It's not a very serious fragrance. It's just a really fun fragrance, one that I cannot get enough of and really puts me in that feminine mood and uplifts me. And speaking of girly and fun, this next one is super girly and super fun. This is one of Kayali's newest fragrances. This is their Eden Sparkling Lychee 39. When this first came out, I did a review on it, and I am still just as much in love with it now as I was then. It is such a fun, flirty, girly, super feminine fragrance. It just makes me feel cute and feminine and extra girly. It's just a beautiful fruity fragrance, but what I love about this fruity fragrance is that it has a black currant, but it's a very densely sweet fruity note. So super sweet, super juicy. Think of like the dark colored grapes. That's kind of the vibes I get with black currant. It's a very dense and sweet, juicy, fruity type of note. And then this also has amber, like a sugared amber, and this also has sandalwood. So between those three notes, the black currant, the sugared amber, the sandalwood, this is a very juicy fragrance, yet it has this slight warmth and this really nice silky creaminess to it, which you get on the dry down. When you first spray it, it's super bright, super fun. It has this like sparkling component to it, but once this starts to dry down on the skin, that is where all of the beauty starts to come through. This isn't just your typical sparkling, fruity, fun fragrance. It has a sophistication to it on the dry down, but you have to wait for the dry down to experience it, and the dry down on skin. I feel like this really shines on skin. So yes, I love this one. It's super girly, super fun, and I cannot wait to use this a lot more now that it's warming up. Oh yeah, this is going to be in heavy rotation. This next one is a Parfum de Marly creation. This is Cassili. Cassili is one of those fragrances that does a lot of different things for me. When I have Cassili on, it makes me feel super feminine, super girly, very pretty. This is one of those fragrances that I can wear in the warmer months, but I can also enjoy it during the colder months. This is a year-round scent for me because year-round it has me covered. It has creamy and warm facets. It has tropical nuances. It has fruits. It just has a little bit of everything. It has a red currant at the top. It has florals at the top. It has frangipani, mimosa, and plum at the mid. And then you have sandalwood, tonka bean, and vanilla at the base, which gives this a nice, creamy, rounded base. To me, this opens up very juicy. Then it starts getting creamy and sweet. And by the dry down, this is just a beautiful, creamy concoction. It's very tropical. And this also has a slight powderiness to it. There's a powdery essence to this. I'm not sure where the powderiness is coming from. I know this has a Petalia and mimosa, and I'm not sure if those florals have like powdery aspects to them, but this also does have like a little bit of a powdery vibe, which makes it really nice to wear when it's really warm or on hot days, because not only do I get the fruity, juicy vibes, but I also feel fresh with this on. And that also speaks to the way the vanilla, tonka bean, and sandalwood are done in this fragrance. It doesn't get cloying or heavy or dense. It's just a warm, sort of slightly creamy, rich base, and it works year round. Okay, so the note mimosa has a very sweet, powdery, floral component to it, lightly green, a light green, and woody nuance. So that might be where the powdery vibes are coming from. So judging from that description, the mimosa might be what's giving this a slightly powdery vibe to it. So yes, Cassili is a year-round fragrance for me. It's an easy grab, easy reach fragrance. It's one that makes me feel super feminine, clean, crisp. I just love it. It's so good. And one of the things I love about Parfums de Marly's fragrances is the ones that are feminine are feminine. They go all the way with their feminine scents. So on a spectrum from slightly feminine to extremely feminine, they are all the way over here on extremely feminine with their feminine scents. And this one is no exception. I've talked about it recently in a video. This is another one that makes me feel very pretty. And this is Valaya. So Valaya, Valaya is a masterpiece. It truly is. I know there are a couple of other fragrances that smell like Valaya, and I cannot wait to get my nose on those scents, because if they are anything similar to this, I know that I will love them. But Valaya is so good. It's a very unique freshie. I'm not like the biggest freshie person. Freshies are more of a necessity to my collection, so they're not something that I go out hunting for. I'll look for freshies in the summertime, and that's why this one was such a surprise, a welcome surprise, and a welcome addition to my collection. This opens up with aldehydes and citruses, and it's so uplifting, and it's like a super icy cold drink. And then it starts to get into the beautiful florals. It has soft and water-like florals. Then you get the woody components. There's a peach note at the top of this that I feel like is so beautiful. The peach note in here is kind of like the inside and outside of the peach. So it's kind of like you get a little bit of that fuzziness from the outside, but you get the sweet and juiciness from the inside, from the flesh of the peach as well. And it makes for a really mouth-watering scent. Very soft, very floral, fresh. This is just so good. The aldehydes in here make this feel very airy and keep it uplifting, keep it bright and ethereal. And I just love this scent. It smells unlike anything I've ever smelled before. It is so unique. And for a complex fragrance, I love that this stays pretty much the same throughout the entire wear. When you get into the dry down, it does get a little bit more musky, but aside from that, I feel like this stays pretty much the same. So in the opening, you get all those citruses with the peach. The citruses dial back a little bit, then you start really enjoying that peach note. The florals come in, then this gets woody. It has the aldehydes, it has that beautiful alcagala wood at the base, which makes it a unique wood. The woodiness in here is quite unique, and then the aldehydes just keep this fragrance airy and bright and uplifting and ethereal the entire time. So I love Valaya. I think it is such a beautiful scent. Whenever I have this on, I feel clean, I feel crisp, I feel feminine and ultra beautiful. This next fragrance is extremely feminine. When I have this on, I feel so woman-like. I feel very delicate. I feel very beautiful. I feel very soft. And this fragrance gives off the it girl essence. And that is Valentino Donna Born Roma's Pink PP. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this because, to my knowledge, it's not available at the moment. I'm not sure if they will ever come back with this, but just know that this is a gorgeous vanillic white floral scent. It's very sweet. You get a heavy, beautiful dose of white florals. If you're a white floral lover, you will love this fragrance because it's white floral done in a very sweet manner. So this opens up with a mandarin note. It has a beautiful creamy orange blossom, and then the vanilla in here is bourbon vanilla, and I think that's why I love this so much, because I quite enjoy the bourbon vanilla note. If you have Black Opium's Le Parfum, then you will probably have an idea of the kind of vanilla that is in here. The bourbon vanilla in here is absolutely gorgeous. It smells similar to the bourbon vanilla in Le Parfum, and I think that's why I enjoy this so much. This is one of the most feminine fragrances in my collection, from the bottle all the way down to the juice inside. This is just so good. The next fragrance on this list is Louis Vuitton's Attrape-Rêve. Attrape-Rêve is a very grown woman scent. This has soft aspects, but it also has very serious aspects. So it's a very soft and beautiful scent that also comes across as serious as well. This is a serious grown woman who is extra beautiful, extra put together. When I have this on, I just feel so put together. This smells so expensive, gives off rich vibes, and that is one of the things I love about this fragrance. So this opens up with ginger, bergamot, lychee at the top. So you get a very fresh opening, but the opening is also fruity and slightly tart. And then you start getting the rose and the peony. This also has a cacao note, but it's like a powdery cacao note. So don't think chocolate bar, think like a really light dusting of cacao powder over some roses or something like that. So it has rose, it has a beautiful peony. I really enjoy the peony in here because I feel like it balances that rose, sort of cuts through the seriousness of the rose. It's a very soft, beautiful floral. I feel like the peony in here plays so nicely with the Turkish rose that's in here. And then they put cacao in here for just an added bit of interest and complexity, and I love that. This also has patchouli at the base, and the patchouli is prominent in here, but what I love about the patchouli is that it makes this a beast mode and super long lasting scent. So this is going to take you from day to night and you will not need to reapply. This is so long lasting and performs so beautifully, and that's why I love this one. The cacao and the florals in here is what really shines through in this scent. And I love the combination of that fine dusting of cacao powder over some soft and sweet florals. Oh, so good. And the last fragrance in here is one I have talked about recently on the channel, so I will not harp on this for too long, but this one is Queening by Mind Games. I've mentioned queening in a couple of videos actually, so I will link those videos here for you so you can go and watch them. But just know that this is the epitome of femininity in a bottle. This fragrance smells so regal. This is extreme princess vibes. I feel like royalty when I have this fragrance on. I love this fragrance, y'all. It is so good, so unique, complex, but not overwhelming. It's complex yet simple at the same time. I love this scent. It's so good. Oh my goodness, when I first put this to my nose, when I first spray it out, what gets me going, what I absolutely love about this is the mixture of the orris with all the other notes. The coconut in here just makes this so creamy, and the orris just keeps this really buttery, but it also has a beautiful cotton flower at the opening, and the cotton flower evokes the feel of cotton, the feel of fabric, not necessarily like cotton, like laundry scent cotton, but the feel of the cotton, the texture of fabric. That's what you are getting in a scent. Yeah, this is so good. I don't know how they did what they did with this fragrance, but it is truly a beautifully unique scent. So this opens up with a cotton flower, which gives you the sensation of fabric caressing your skin. So the softest cotton that you can imagine. Then you get a sweetness. There's a green apple at the opening as well. So this does have a sweet component to it. So then you start getting the orris, which is my favorite part of this fragrance. You get orris, there's a rum, and there's a saffron at the mid of this fragrance. Now, I don't detect a ton of saffron in here. It's done in a very subtle way, but I do pick up on that rum note, and the rum just adds a little bit of a spiked complexity to the mid. It's not like a heavy rum where you can just smell rum as soon as you put your nose to the bottle. No, the rum is done in a way that sort of balances out the mid. It gives it a slight warm, spicy essence. It gives it a little body at the mid so that it doesn't just stay super duper soft like it opens up. A little bit more substance because you have the orris, then the rum, then the saffron, so it gets a little bit more complex at the mid. And then at the base of this is where it gets really interesting with the addition of the coconut. Oh my goodness. The coconut in here is not a sunscreen, suntan like coconut. It's not that type of note. Instead, it adds a lactonic vibe to this fragrance that doesn't smell like warm boiling milk. Instead, it's a very light lactonic, so that the lactonic nature of this never gets nauseating. It's not that kind of lactonic vibe. If you've ever cooked with coconut cream or coconut milk, then you will understand when I say it's a fluffy lactonic vibe. The coconut is one of the key ingredients to making this smell as unique and complex. The other one would be the cotton flower, and then the third one would be the orris that's in here. I feel like those three notes are the notes that shine the most and make this fragrance the most unique. Now this also has vanilla and musk at the base, and it does get a little bit musky, but it's not a musky scent per se. It just has a slight musk at the base. I love this fragrance. It's princess vibes. I feel so regal when I have this on. It is so ethereal, and I am going to be enjoying this fragrance to no end this spring and even in the summertime. It's light enough to wear in the summer. Even with the saffron and the rum and the vanilla, this is light enough to wear in the summertime. And when I read the description of queening, I was really pleasantly surprised because I picked this fragrance out and my husband purchased it for me to celebrate my YouTube milestone. And when I read the description, it talked about having queen-like characteristics. A woman who is overcoming obstacles on her way to achieve her goals. And I thought that this was the perfect fragrance for this season of my life. And yeah, y'all, this makes me feel so beautiful, and I'm in love. I'm in love with this fragrance. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video. It was so much fun hanging out with you today, talking all things girly, talking fragrances. I hope you were inspired to sort of walk in your femininity as you go into the rest of your week, whenever you're watching this. And if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy fragrance content, I make quite a bit of it on this channel. On this channel, I share my fragrance journey. I don't consider myself a fragrance reviewer. I'm just on here sharing my fragrance journey. And if that's something that you vibe with, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss another video. So before you click off of the video, if there is something that you have been wanting to get started with, but for some reason you just have not gotten started, whether it be for overthinking, like I can overthink sometimes, or maybe because you're a perfectionist, like I can be sometimes, I want to encourage you to just get started right where you're at. Sometimes we can't really perfect a thing until we actually just get started. When you get started, that's when you will begin to come into certain lessons, maybe hitting certain stumbling blocks or obstacles that are going to help you self-correct and figure out exactly what to do, when to do it, what to say, how to say it. And you won't know those things unless you just get started. Don't be afraid to get started right where you're at. Sometimes we just need to put ourselves out there and everything else will fall into place. So friend, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful for you, and I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.